Any day now, Russian President Vladimir Putin is expected to sign a bill that would put even harsher restrictions on the LGBTQ community in his country. Russia's upper house of parliament unanimously passed it this morning. Now, the law would ban Russians from all ages from, quote, praising homosexual relationships or publicly suggesting that they are, quote, normal. That includes advertising, books, films, and any form of media. But one prominent Russian couple, has been leading an effort to challenge the Kremlin's views on gay marriage. They publicly shared the news of their wedding and have also protested the war in Ukraine. Joining me now from Berlin is Mikhail Zygar. He is a friend of mine, a journalist and author of All the Kremlin's Men. Mikhail, good to see you. Misha, thank you so much for coming on with us. You shared your pictures of that special day where you married Jean-Michel in Portugal. You have left Russia now, and you are an expat after protesting the war. So you were living in Europe with many other fellow journalists who were protesting the war as well. There we see pictures. On that day, when you posted those wedding pictures, you said that we got married. Love, freedom, truth, and happiness. It's time to start liberalization from yourself. What do you mean by that, liberalization?
Actually, we've got a lot of issues with our liberty in Russia, and I think that we've got after the war has started, we all have to think about our own responsibility and about our own guilt and what we should do and what we could do. So I think that is very important for any Russian, and that was my wedding toast actually at our wedding day. When I suppose that probably after that terrible war has started, we should not recognize the Russian state anymore, and we cannot recognize all those inhumane laws they are voting for. So we have to set our own precedents. So we as Russian civil society that opposes the war and is fighting against the war, we should set our precedent. And getting married, we are setting that precedent of legalization of same-sex marriages in Russia of future.
And this anti-LGBTQ law follows a similar law passed in 2013. And for many people at home watching Russia essentially lose this war, some are asking why this focus on the LGBTQ community when there's so many bigger existential threats to Vladimir Putin's reign at this point. Can you walk us through why, I don't know how else to describe it, but other than his obsession with the LGBTQ community and tying it to the West specifically?
Sure. I won't surprise you probably that there are a lot of rumors about high-ranking Russian officials to be really gay, but in the closet. And we don't know anything for sure because none of them has publicly admitted that. But there are a lot of rumors, for example, about the chairman of the State Duma, Vyacheslav Volodin, who became the first proponent of that so-called anti-gay law back in 2013, and now is the most ardent supporter of the new law. Besides, a lot of people from Putin's inner circle are supposed to be gays. So these are the widespread rumors. I don't think that those rumors about Putin himself are reliable. I don't believe that. But definitely for the inner circle, that's not a sin and that's not a crime. So it's quite obvious that they are privately okay with that, but they consider that it's a very cheap and easy way to get the approval of the huge masses of Russian population. They consider Russian population to be very homophobic, and they are sure that law.
Yeah, very homophobic, and very conservative. And you talk about this hold that the Kremlin still has over propaganda and the media. But you, as an expert on Putin's inner circle, say that that may fool the Russian public, but it doesn't fool the inner circle in terms of his status now, given that this war is not going at the speed that he had hoped it would, to say the least. You think he's vulnerable right now, Vladimir Putin?
I think he's more vulnerable than ever, because especially after the retreat from Kherson, especially after the latest news from the front line, it's obvious for the Russian bureaucratic elite that he's not going to get away with it. So it's probably the first time ever since the beginning of the war, the last month. It is obvious for the inner circle that he is losing, he's going to lose, and there is no way out for themselves. So probably they are thinking for their personal ways to escape that situation. They are still voting for any law he proposes. They are still publicly supporting him, but his power. We're close to the end.
Yeah, his power is waning. Listen, Mikhail, it's great to have you on. Congratulations to you and Jean-Michel. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you.